because I did not understand the importance of having business funding. And here's what I learned. I learned that I needed to be financially literate, understanding that business credit is not debt, that it's actually separating me totally from my business. Number two, if I would have had business credit instead of just having cash on hand, I could have hid the debt. And number three, I had the separation of my business from my personal credit. When I lost everything would have been shown on the business side of that failing business and not my personal credit profile. Not knowing that, everything went to trash on the personal credit profile, and I was not able to leverage it for another 100K in funding and beyond. So I'm here to put you on notice. If you're anyone who's in business and you're serious about business, do not look at business credit as something where you're creating debt. Yes, you're creating debt, but you're creating good debt. You need to totally separate yourself from your business. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. When we first become entrepreneurs, everything is up. We're like, yes, we're going to sell X amount of a number of units and make X amount of dollars, but we never take into account or into consideration that what happens when things don't go like A plus B equals C, right? Especially if it's a new industry that you're embarking on, all right? So I'm here to answer any questions you may have when it comes to establishing and creating a healthy business credit profile for yourself. Funding is the key to your success, okay? Your business credit profile is your key to your better future, like just point blank period. Because I want you to look at it like this. Separating yourself from your business allows you to eventually get to the point where it's a standalone business. It has its own name, phone number, email, website. When things start to act funny or murky, or you're in a position where things didn't go out as planned, you are in a position to protect your personal credit profile and move on as though nothing ever happened. Our problem is we are refusing to become financially literate. Financial literacy is key. If you don't understand how to name your business properly, how to become a credible company and walk and sashay yourself inside of a bank and ask for funding to fund your venture in this country, that's a huge problem. People do not even have that available to them. I don't care what's going on in the government or whatever is happening right now, you are still in the position where you can set yourself up for funding. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to help you. But what I will say before I go, because if you don't have any questions, I'm just going to hop off. I just wanted to give you that PSA because no one thinks about that. You don't have a contingency plan in place. I want you to understand. Here, this used to be a rule because my background is real estate, right? The first rule of purchasing any real estate, it wasn't for appreciation. That's where people get caught up. So if you're listening to a mentor and he's telling you to hop into his real estate program, red flag. When they say, oh, get into this area because the Midwest, the properties are so low, eventually it's going to appreciate and become something. No one can predict a community and where it's going to go or the environment of real estate. You never invest or purchase because you think that piece of property is going to appreciate. The rule we used to go by, you need to have three exit strategies in anything that you embark upon. So I took that same ruling to any business that I may go in. Our problem is if someone say, hey, if you get yourself a luxury car and put it on Turo, you can rent it out on Turo for $400 a day, but your car note is $1,000 a month. Oh my God, you could get 400 times 30. So you can walk away with $12,000 a month, $11,000 profit. That is not how business works. Okay? Unfortunately. All right? What about the other things to market, to strategize, to have funding in place? All of that is important. Are grants better than loans? Of course, if you can get yourself on a grant, Your hand's on a grant and you don't need to pay it back 100%. But I want you to understand that loans and credit cards, you can use it to leverage it to separate you totally from your business. If you create your business its own standalone way of being funding, and it can stand with a credit profile on its own, and then eventually you start getting money just in the business name, you're on next level, because that means you're totally protected. So yes, in the beginning, PG it, establish business credit for that entity, and then eventually pay all that stuff down, and then you can now walk into the bank. Chase, Bank of America, Amex, all these people. I got like over $500,000 in funding with books showing, with powerful credit reports showing that over the past few years, we've been doing responsible things with our credit. So now I want you to extend me a line of credit, right? At this point, if you use that money in the correct fashion, you will then qualify for what is known as corporate credit. Do we have any questions? And I would say, ask your questions, because a lot of you are still asking juvenile things. You don't even understand how to go get a proper address. Let's elevate from that. Get yourself some form of small blueprint, understand how to at least get your foundation in place if you don't pay for anything else. Jumping from YouTube channel to YouTube channel is just information piecemealed all over the internet, and you're still confused. Yes, I understand. We have a few credit cards now under the EIN. I love your advice. Yes. So having a few credit cards underneath that business, you have taken the first step to literally protect yourself. And then it goes to the next level. You can start getting trust and start, hiding and doing things that way. But at least baseline, start building a business credit profile for any business that you embark on. All right. And understand that when you go into a new industry, things does not always go as planned. You can either not grow as fast, or you can grow fast like I did and have things in the business get beyond you. You understand? So having financial literacy can help in all cases, whether you're successful or you're starting out. Point blank, period. I run into people at all business levels, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. They are still in the same position. Us as a community and people who have not been let into this entrepreneurial and funding and banking, we've been let in late. All right. We have so many discriminatory practices that we now that they say, hey, go ahead, go about it, go be great, all equal opportunity, funding or whatever. Still got people like Wells Fargo and other banks still got those predatory practices and things like that and being sued. So I understand that we may not know what to do, okay? But that's not today. Today, we are flooded with the internet with information on how to move forward in your life when it comes to funding. We're set city, county, state, IRS, and LLC. You're right. Yeah. Okay. So that way you can take advantage of some 0% interest funding. That is always key. Guys, try to at least get yourself 2 to 3 credit cards with 0% interest credit with funding, so that way you can minimize your risk. At least you'll have 12 months. I'm not telling you to take all that funding and be like, oh, I'm rich. I got 12 months. I got $75,000 in 0% interest money. I got 12 months. I know this gonna pop off. Still, you need to be even more cautious when it comes to using someone else's money versus your own. Because you have to understand that if I want to come back and get more funding and I want this bank to trust me, I need to do right with the $20,000 that they give me. The only data point that matters on the business credit side is that you pay your bills on time. You cannot be late. If you're late once or twice, that profile is done. I'm sorry. All right. So be of the mind of moving in the correct fashion and having a solid idea to bring in cash flow into your business. Don't think that the money that you borrow is going to help you result in a cash flow. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a solid business plan with marketing strategies, with ways to bring in income into your business. I hope that this is information you can use. If you would like your funding sequence strategy and we can have a quick call with my team, type the word chat, check your DMs, book your free call. You need that structure. Everyone needs that structure. Baseline is financial literacy. We have been locked out of the banking industry and the funding advantages for far too long. And then when they did let us in, guess what? It was 08 happened. It was giving out predatory lending, and then they put our communities on sale. But that's okay. I'm happy I lived through that, and now you understand how to move, okay? So it's totally fine. And another thing you need to understand that don't be afraid, because being afraid will leave you standing in place your entire life. You have to get past that mark. Take a risk. There's no reward without risk. Okay? It's risky getting married. It's risky having children. It's risky starting a job. It's risky jumping in your car every day. It's risky sitting up depending on someone else at a W-2. I've had all those risks. All right? So be comfortable of losing and failing and jumping up and coming up with a different plan. You now become more sharper, more fast, more quick on your feet, because people say like, well, how did you get rid of your bankruptcy in 5 months and fund yourself over $300,000? I was already an entrepreneur. I had already was doing business. You understand? So those are transferable skills. That's how you can see someone. I bounced back so fast that nobody even knew that I even had an issue. My family was seeing podcasts years later like, wait, what? You were going through that? I know, right? That's like when I gained weight a little bit. I lost that weight so fast. I think I got one picture when I was overweight. I went through a little period, about 6 months, I don't play games about my weight. That's one thing I don't play. Okay, you know too much. Yeah. So if you have any questions, be sure to DM me. If you want a free funding strategy call, this is my karma to you, right? It's not us trying to sell you anything, but to give you some form of funding plan so you can understand where you are and where you're trying to go and how to get there at least. Or I just want you to get started, all right? Understand that there's anything, small packages available, like pennies on a dollar. If you can go out, especially if you live in Atlanta, and drop $100 and a 20% gratuity on a meal that's trash, okay? You can take some time to invest a little something in yourself. I don't care if it's $100, $200. I am always buying $249 packages or something just to see, what is this? This is something I can do? Oh, okay. You need to enjoy your entrepreneurship and move forward with it with a happy feeling, with a happy belief that things are going to work out for you, because they will. As a man think, so is he. So if you think that I don't need that, and then you find out later you wish you would have developed yourself as an entrepreneur, understand that if you've been working for someone for years and you want to hop out into entrepreneurship, that's a whole nother beast. You need all the education you need to develop yourself from a W-2 worker and a worker bee to a boss. That takes practice. That takes strategy. That takes time. Type chat if you're someone that does not have financial literacy, because you need it. If you're listening to me and these things are sounding alien to you, you need financial literacy, whether you are aware of it or not. This goes beyond industries, beyond entrepreneurship, beyond who you think you know yourself to be. All right? If you are someone that works for someone else and you're trying to cross over into entrepreneurship, you need to develop your marketing skills, your seeking skills, your personable skills, your financial strategy skills. your way to do business and move in a certain fashion. You need to be around bosses now. You need to start asking questions. You need to be in the room. You need to be on the Zoom call. You need to start reading. Do y'all know how many books I've read this year alone? It's been crazy. I sat up and counted it myself. I'm like, damn, I'm reading a book a week. I don't know what's gotten into me, but I'm just reading lately. It's like that Neville Goddard collection. That book is insane. The power of your subconscious mind. All right. The psychology of money. I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again. Okay. The science of money. Okay. You need to start developing yourself mentally, emotionally. So above, so below. You know what that means? What's up here is what you experience in your heart and what you create in your life. You can be nothing more than who you really are, not who you wish to be. So who are you? You are the person, and you're the equal sum of the people you hang out with, the actionable steps you take every day, and the content that you consume, especially by seeing. So if you're on the internet scrolling, listening, and watching a bunch of trash, your subconscious mind is absorbing that information and you're developing that in your world. All right? If you have poor money habits, there's a gap in your learning. You now need financial literacy. If you don't understand what blueprint or where you need to get started, drop a chat, check your DMs, book your free funding readiness call. I'm here to help. I hope this is information you guys can use. As always, I love when you guys DM me and ask questions. That be the information I use a lot of the times to come on here because you're asking the same questions. What about my address? What about my name? What about my industry? Can I get funding without my personal name? No, you cannot. So get out of that idea. All right? I love you. I love you. I love you. Be amazing. Be great. Let's go get funded, guys. You hear me? Take care. There's 0 motherfuckers watching.